There comes a point in every man's life where he looks at the woman he loves and asks himself, am I losing myself in trying to keep her? Because when you're dealing with a narcissistic woman, it feels like a dance where only one person leads, and it's never you. She draws you in with charm, with beauty, with an intoxicating energy that makes you feel like you've found the sun itself. But very soon, you realize that same sun burns, blinds, and consumes everything in its path. And here's the truth. You cannot fight fire by throwing yourself into the flames. You handle it with awareness, with strategy, and most importantly, with self-respect. First, understand the pattern. When you find yourself caught in the orbit of a narcissistic woman, the first and most important step is to understand the pattern. You see, narcissism is not random. It follows a cycle, a dance, a script that repeats itself over and over again. If you don't understand this cycle, you will keep mistaking chaos for love, manipulation for passion, and control for care. It usually begins with what psychologists call love bombing. In the early stages, she sweeps you off your feet with an intensity that feels unmatched. She tells you you're her soulmate. She showers you with affection, gifts, attention, and compliments. You feel chosen, special, almost as if you've been touched by magic. This is the hook. This is how she makes you believe she is everything you ever wanted. But then something shifts. Slowly, that same affection is withheld. The compliments turn into criticisms. The attention turns into indifference. The warmth becomes cold. You're left wondering, what did I do wrong? Why is she pulling away? And here lies the trap, because instead of seeing this as her pattern, you start blaming yourself. The cycle moves into devaluation. She begins to poke at your insecurities, make comparisons, criticize your efforts, or use silence as punishment. It's not that she doesn't see your worth. It's that she thrives on making you question it. By doing so, she gains more control. The less certain you are of yourself, the more dependent you become on her validation. And then comes the third stage, discard. This doesn't always mean she leaves physically, though sometimes she will. Often it means she emotionally disconnects, withdraws affection, or makes you feel invisible. This sudden emotional abandonment can crush your spirit if you don't understand that this is part of her pattern, not a reflection of your value. But just when you start to pull away, she circles back with hoovering, sweet words, promises of change, moments of tenderness. It's like she flips the switch back to that intoxicating early love. You feel hope again. You think, maybe this time will be different. And before you know it, you're back on the roller coaster. Here's the thing. Once you understand this cycle, you can stop confusing it with love. Because love doesn't feel like a roller coaster that keeps crashing. Love feels steady, safe, and reciprocal. Love builds you up. It doesn't tear you down. So the first step in handling a narcissistic woman is simply this: awareness. Awareness is power. When you can name the pattern, you reclaim your clarity. Instead of asking, what's wrong with me? You start asking, what's happening here? That simple shift, from self-blame to pattern recognition, becomes the foundation of your freedom. And let me leave you with this thought. The moment you see the game, you no longer play it blindly. That's where your strength begins. Second, boundaries are not walls, they are doors. When dealing with a narcissistic woman, boundaries are not just important, they are essential for survival. But let me be clear, boundaries are not walls meant to shut people out. They are doors, carefully placed, that let in what nourishes you and keep out what harms you. A narcissistic woman will test your limits. It's not always obvious. Sometimes it's small. She cancels plans last minute, criticizes your choices, or makes jokes at your expense. Other times it's more extreme. Insults, manipulation, even emotional blackmail. And here's the truth. If you allow her to cross a boundary once, she will test again. If you allow her twice, it becomes a pattern. Before long, you've given up your self-respect piece by piece, until you hardly recognize yourself. Boundaries are not about controlling her behavior. You cannot control her. Boundaries are about controlling your own response. They are about saying, this is what I accept, and this is what I do not accept. It's not about threatening or punishing. It's about being clear and consistent. For example, if she belittles you in public, a boundary might sound like, I will not stay in conversations where I am disrespected. And then you walk away. Not with anger, not with drama, but with calm firmness. You see, narcissists thrive on reaction. They feed off your anger, your begging, your pain. But when you enforce a boundary calmly, without emotional fuel, you show her that her tactics no longer work. This is where many people struggle. They confuse boundaries with ultimatums. A boundary is not about changing her. It's about protecting you. Whether she changes or not is irrelevant. Your boundary is your line in the sand. And here's a secret. Boundaries are deeply attractive, not to a narcissist, because she sees them as resistance, but to your own spirit. When you honor your boundaries, you honor yourself. You send a powerful message. I am worth respect, and I will not betray myself for anyone. That message resonates not only in your relationships, but in every area of your life. The poet Khalil Gibran once said, "Let there be spaces in your togetherness." Boundaries create that space. They allow love to breathe, respect to grow, and dignity to remain intact. Without them, there is only suffocation. So if you want to handle a narcissistic woman, make boundaries your shield. Don't explain them endlessly. Don't apologize for them. State them with love, enforce them with consistency, and stand firm when they're tested. Remember this. Every time you enforce a boundary, you teach her how to treat you. And every time you betray your boundary, you teach her that disrespect is allowed. Boundaries are not walls to keep love out. They are doors that protect your peace. And peace, my friend, is priceless. Point number 3. Stop feeding the ego and start feeding the truth. One of the most dangerous traps when dealing with a narcissistic woman is the constant pressure to feed her ego. Her hunger for attention and validation feels endless, like pouring water into a bucket with a hole at the bottom. No matter how much you give, it's never enough. At first, this can feel charming. She demands your attention, your compliments, your loyalty, and you gladly give it because you love her. You want to see her smile, you want to keep the peace, you want to feel that spark of connection again. But over time, you notice something. Your giving has become a prison. The more you validate her, the more she expects. The more you chase, the further she runs. It becomes a cycle where you are drained, and she is never satisfied. This is not love, it is addiction. It is a performance where only one actor gets the applause. Here's the shift you must make. Stop feeding her ego and start feeding the truth. What does that mean? It means you stop giving in to the manipulation. When she demands validation, you don't respond with rehearsed praise. Instead, you anchor yourself in reality. You stop sugarcoating, you stop apologizing for things you didn't do, you stop bending your values just to keep her happy. For example, if she says, "You don't love me enough. You never make me feel special," the ego-feeding response is to beg, to reassure, to list all the ways you love her. But the truth-feeding response is to calmly say, "I show love in my way, and I will not keep proving myself endlessly." If that's not enough for you, then maybe this isn't the right fit. Do you see the difference? One response fuels her game. The other response ends it. Now, this doesn't mean you stop giving love. Love is beautiful, but love is not slavery. True love is mutual, not transactional. Feeding the truth means showing up authentically, even if it disappoints her. Because if your truth scares her away, she was never really with you in the first place. She was with the mask you created to please her. There's a saying, the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. For a narcissistic woman, the truth threatens her control. She may lash out, withdraw, or accuse you of being cold. But stay calm. Stay grounded. Your job is not to keep her ego inflated. It is to protect your own soul. And here's the beauty. When you stop feeding the ego, the game starves. Without your endless validation, she loses power. And in that space, you rediscover your own voice, your own needs, your own worth. Never forget this. The truth is not cruel. It is freedom dress. Point number 4. Emotional detachment is not the absence of love. It's the presence of clarity. One of the most misunderstood concepts in relationships is emotional detachment. Many people believe that detaching means you stop caring, that you harden your heart, that you turn cold. But in reality, emotional detachment is not the absence of love. It's the presence of clarity. When you are entangled with a narcissistic woman, your emotions can feel like a storm. One day you're high on her affection. The next you're drowning in her rejection. It's like being tied to a roller coaster you never wanted to ride. And because you love her, you hold on tighter, hoping the ride will smooth out. But here's the truth. Narcissistic relationships are designed to keep you off balance. The chaos is the control. This is where emotional detachment saves you. It doesn't mean you stop loving her. It means you stop letting her chaos dictate your peace. It means you step back, breathe, and see the situation for what it is, not for what you wish it could be. Detachment is choosing to respond instead of react. It's not begging when she withdraws. It's not exploding when she provokes. It's calmly saying, "I hear you," instead of jumping into her drama. It's walking away when the fight goes nowhere. Think of detachment like standing on the shore watching a storm over the ocean. You see the waves crashing, the thunder roaring, but you are grounded on solid land. You no longer throw yourself into the storm. Now, I know what you're thinking, but doesn't love mean giving your all? No, love does not mean losing yourself. Love without boundaries is obsession. Love without clarity is chaos. True love can only grow in the soil of respect and balance. If you are constantly sacrificing your peace to keep her happy, that's not love, that's surrender. Detachment brings clarity, and clarity helps you make decisions from strength, not desperation. When you're detached, you can ask yourself, is this relationship nourishing me or draining me? Am I loved or am I being used? Am I here because of love or because of fear of being alone? And here's the paradox. When you detach, you actually give love a chance to breathe. Because when you are no longer desperate, no longer needy, no longer controlled, you show up as your strongest self. And only from that place can real intimacy exist. If she cannot handle your detachment, if she cannot respect your clarity, then she was never looking for love. She was looking for control. And you are not here to be controlled. So remember this. Detachment is not coldness, it is courage. It's the courage to love without losing yourself. And when you master that, you reclaim your peace, your dignity, and your freedom. Number 5, choose power over pity. One of the greatest traps when dealing with a narcissistic woman is pity. There will be moments when she shows you her wounds, her past heartbreaks, her struggles, her insecurities. And in those moments, your heart aches for her. You think, if I just love her enough, if I just heal her enough, she'll change. But hear me, pity is the hook. A narcissist knows that empathy is your strength, and she will use it as her weapon. She will give you glimpses of her vulnerability, not as an invitation to grow, but as a way to keep you hooked. And if you're not careful, you will mistake her pain for permission to lose yourself. Here's the harsh reality. You cannot save someone who does not want to be saved. You cannot heal someone who thrives in their wounds. You cannot pour your love into a broken vessel that refuses to hold it. Choosing pity means you sacrifice your power. You tolerate abuse because you feel sorry for her. You excuse manipulation because of her trauma. You stay when you should leave because you convince yourself. Here's the harsh reality. You cannot save someone who does not want to be saved. You cannot heal someone who thrives in their wounds. You cannot pour your love into a broken vessel that refuses to hold it. Choosing pity means you sacrifice your power. You tolerate abuse because you feel sorry for her. You excuse manipulation because of her trauma. You stay when you should leave because you convince yourself that without you, she'll fall apart. But choosing power means you love with strength. You say, I see your pain, but I will not allow it to destroy me. You say, I can care for you, but I will not abandon myself for you. That is power. Think about it. If you drown while trying to save someone, both of you are lost. But if you keep yourself afloat, you at least give love a chance to survive. This is why pity is dangerous. It makes you a prisoner. It chains you to her wounds, and you spend your life trying to heal scars you didn't create. Power, on the other hand, liberates you. It says, I am responsible for my life, and you are responsible for yours. The great poet Maya Angelou once said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Don't get stuck believing in her potential while ignoring her reality. Choosing power doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you stop loving. It simply means you stop confusing sacrifice with salvation. You can offer compassion, but not at the cost of your dignity. You can support her, but not at the cost of your freedom. Love without power becomes pity, and pity will keep you chained forever. So choose power, because when you stand strong in your worth, you invite her to rise with you. And if she cannot, then you will walk away knowing you didn't abandon her. You simply refuse to abandon yourself. Point number 6, reclaim your life. The ultimate way to handle a narcissistic woman is not by fighting her, fixing her, or outsmarting her. It is by reclaiming your life. You see, narcissists thrive when they are the center of your universe. They want your attention, your energy, your time, your soul. They want you orbiting around them, like a planet around the sun. But the moment you reclaim your life, their power begins to fade. Reclaiming your life means pouring into yourself again. It means reconnecting with your passions, your dreams, your friends, your health, your goals. Because here's the truth. The more fulfilled you are on your own, the less control she has over you. Think about the hobbies you abandoned just to spend more time with her. Think about the friendships you neglected because she demanded all your attention. Think about the goals you put on hold, believing she was your everything. Reclaim them. Take them back. Reignite your fire. When you reclaim your life, you shift the dynamic. Suddenly, she is no longer the source of your happiness. You are. Suddenly, she is no longer the reason you wake up in the morning. You are. And that independence is the one thing a narcissist cannot stand, because it means she has lost control. But beyond that, reclaiming your life is about rediscovering your worth. It's looking in the mirror and saying, I matter. My dreams matter. My peace matters. My joy matters. It's refusing to live in the shadow of someone else's ego. There's a powerful quote, the best revenge is living well. And in this context, the best way to handle a narcissistic woman is not to argue with her, not to prove her wrong, not to wait for her to change. It's to live so fully, so passionately, so unapologetically, that her power over you dissolves. Reclaiming your life doesn't always mean walking away immediately, though sometimes it does. It means shifting your energy back to yourself. It means no longer giving her the keys to your happiness. And here's the beautiful part. When you reclaim your life, you attract better love. Because you radiate confidence, independence, and self-respect. And the right person will meet you at that level, not drain you. So ask yourself, what part of my life have I given away? What part of me have I silenced? What dream have I abandoned? And then, step by step, reclaim it. Because the truth is this, you don't lose a narcissist, you free yourself from one. And in that freedom, you rise. So hear me now, handling a narcissistic woman is not about beating her at her own game. It's about refusing to play the game in the first place. It's about standing tall, speaking your truth, and knowing that love without respect is nothing but an illusion. And if you remember only one thing from this moment, let it be this. You don't lose a narcissist. You free yourself from one. That's your power. That's your freedom. That's how you rise. Before we close, I want to take a moment to thank you for giving me your most valuable resource, your time and your attention. If you've stayed with me until now, it means you're not just listening, you're searching, you're growing, and you're choosing to protect your peace and your heart. Remember this. No matter how powerful a narcissist woman may seem, your light is stronger, your love is deeper, and your worth is untouchable. You do not have to shrink yourself to fit someone else's story. You were born to rise, to set boundaries with courage, and to love with wisdom. So, thank you for walking this path with me today. If this message resonated, share it with someone who needs this reminder. And if you want more empowering conversations like this, don't forget to subscribe and join our growing family here. Until next time, stay strong, take care, and goodbye.